So I talk about the ABCs: awareness, balance, connection. Using your awareness. So what is going on with me? What do I feel? I'm burnt out lately. I'm tired. I'm irritable. I haven't been to the gym. I haven't been doing what I love. I've had a lot of commitments lately. So awareness, and then putting balance in. Where's the balance? When you're tipped, it's not good.
First responders have a hard time with balance.
Yes.
I know that for a fact.
Carrying a lot of weight.
Yep.
Right. And it's not always going to be equal. We're going to tip at times, but where can you implement balance? And then connection, connection with your family, your kids, right? Your kids, your wife, with friends, being able to go out, maybe for a date, or guys going out with the guys.
Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Dispatch. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Before we get any further, please do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment in the comment section about what you liked about this episode. It really does help out our channel and helps grow the channel. So whatever platform you guys watch us on, we really do appreciate it. Without further ado, we have Melissa in the studio today. I love in-studio guests. It's always a better interview, always a better conversation. Melissa is the owner of Sugar Grove Wellness. Melissa, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here. I am a licensed clinical social worker. I've been in the field for 23 years. Wow. I've been in private practice for 13. I opened up Sugar Grove Wellness 3 years ago. I was inspired by Jada Hudson. She's a pretty well-known first responder therapist.
Love it.
I was working private practice at another location for 10 years, got my feet wet. She approached me and said, I want you to buy my business. I will help you along the way. Good friend. Wow. She was moving away.
Saw something in you?
Yep. She's like, you have it. She's like, you will flourish. You will be the person that they trust. I want you to take my clients. And she's built such rapport. She's written a book. So
what's it called? Do you remember? I mean to put you on the spot like that.
Oh my gosh, why am I drawing a blank? It's like a first responder wellness book. She talks a lot about fire in there and just coping and all the things that guys go through during their career.
Yeah.
Very good book though. When we talked about it, she said, I will guide you the whole way, because it's just, it was really difficult just working. I had little kids at the time. I've never taken a business class in my life.
Right.
It's so intimidating.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my God. So yeah, so we talked and we got everything rolling and, bought it 3 years ago. And then that came to, what do I want this to be? What do I want this to look like? And it obviously, has grown so much. I'm so grateful. I made the Nautilus shell, my logo, for a reason. I love the ocean, but there's a meaning behind it, of the chambers, and the chambers get bigger and bigger. So the mollusk in the chamber outgrows that chamber. And then there's room for a bigger chamber. So room for growth.
Okay.
And I just love the way, I loved how that all fell into like my life and the practice and what I wanted us to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, here we are 3 years later.
And you're all over the place. You go to fire departments, you go to police departments. Mm-hmm. So what are some things that you teach at those locations or like talk about?
I have a couple different PowerPoints that I bring in. The first one I bring in is emotional wellness. So that's really the first one I always do, because I feel like that's me getting in there, guys getting a feel for what I'm like, and I can teach, I call it a sprinkle of everything in that one. It's about depression, anxiety, PTSD, suicide, coping. And then I go back in and I'll teach, I have an anger one, using anger as a driver.
Okay.
So trying to use it more as a positive rather than a negative.
Right.
I have one on burnout and compassion fatigue, because that's obviously something that many first responders don't know they have.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I've also done one trending problems that we see in the fire service, affecting their mental health, like what I'm seeing now, compared to what guys talked about before in the past.
Right.
So I go in and I feel like that has really helped because then there's that familiar face. I'm making, myself known. They're getting an idea of who I am, my style, my personality. And then it's been great. Like guys call me and they say, hey, I saw you. I saw you speak, I'd love to come in. Also too, I open it up to, hey, if you don't want to come in for counseling, call me and use me as a resource for your wife, for your kids. I've had so many call me like, hey, can you help my wife? Or, hey, we need a therapist for our child.
Yeah.
So it's really helped.
I mean, you're giving these guys and men and women an outlet, right? Where they see who you are. They see what type of person you are. And you are a very laid back person. You're very easy to talk to. You're very open. And it's comforting to talk to you just from the hour that you've been in studio. You are very easy to talk to. And I can see why, I guess I would call her a mentor to you.
Yeah.
Saw some, a lot of good things in you.
Thank you.
That's it's amazing. But like, thank you for what you do, because now you're giving these guys and men and women an outlet, because a lot of these people don't have that outlet because they don't know where the first step to take. And
right.
They already know what kind of person you are and what kind of clinic that you run. So that's amazing.
And in my clinic, I've hired 2 clinicians since. I just interviewed another one.
Let's go.
Yeah, and another one I'm going to interview as well. It's great. I can't even, I get emotional about it every time, thinking sometimes I lay in bed and I'm like, can't believe this is all happening.
It's amazing. And think about how many lives you're touching, though.
Thank you.
That's the real.
I feel it. I mean,
there.
I've had tears with guys. There's times that guys have come in and not been in a good place, and I do my best. Obviously, I am an open door. I'll have guys text me. They know on my business line you can text or call.
Right.
And so there's been a couple texts. At times when I'm on vacation, had someone that needed to go to rehab, and I was there helping Chief out.
Let's go.
I was on vacation, but hey, my phone, it's always on. I'm always on. And
that's also exhausting all in itself.
It is. I have to have really good self-care working out.
That's not an option. And you talk about like burnout, like empathy burnout, right?
Yeah.
It's the same for you. Or like even like secondhand trauma is definitely a thing for you. So self-care.
Oh, it's big. I'm a mom of 2, and I spend time with my girls, and I love working out. I don't get to do it all the time enough because of the business and my schedule, but I think I get irritable if I don't work out.
Same.
I know, I get super irritable.
Same. I'm not a good person to be around. I'm a very grumpy person.
Yeah. I get my nails done with my best friend. I feel like my one thing that I stick by, I've had a lot of people ask me, what is your go-to for a coping skill? We hear it all the time, right?
Right.
Just the standard things,
Yeah, absolutely.
Breathing and visualization, or go get a massage. My one thing I stick to, have one thing a week to look forward to.
Yeah.
It can be a level 2, like, you're going to go out with somebody, out to lunch, out to dinner, something small.
Right.
I'm going to get my nails done. It can be something big, getting married, or a resort, that vacation you've spent a year saving up for.
Right.
Like it can be something small or big, but have something every week to look forward to, because I feel like it keeps people going.
It does. It gives you something to look forward to, something positive. But I mean, that also mindset, that's a huge thing. And I mean, it also depends on where you're at mentally, right? So if you are suffering from PTSD or you are suffering from those things, sometimes looking forward to things like you don't even want to go in the first place, like a family party or going to the Bears game or going out. That's something that self-awareness needs to take over and be like, something's off here. Maybe I need to talk to somebody because that's not normal.
Yeah.
But you said a lot of good things that I really want to start diving in on. But before we get to that point, I want to talk about why you got into this field in the first place. Is there a reason or you just went to school because?
Yeah. I was my senior year, I remember thinking about what I wanted to do. And I was one of those, individuals who I really didn't know. I felt lost. I danced. I was a big dancer. I actually danced from 4 years old till 30.
Okay.
I did ballet and tap. I was in POMs. I taught dance. I was later on some teams later when I was older. Schaumburg Flyers. I was on Chicago Storm. It was a soccer team for a while. So
you're like a jack of all trades.
I don't know. I feel like, so getting back to what you asked, I feel like through dance, that's where I was able to work through a lot of what I've been through and my emotions.
Okay.
So when I was little, my dad was an alcoholic, really bad. He was very violent, not towards me, but it could have went that way.
Right.
It was starting to go that way. And I was in 4th grade, and literally one of those stories where he was at work and my mom and I just picked up what we could and we left. And I had to leave a lot of my bedroom behind. And we moved in with my grandparents, and we lived in Downers Grove, and my grandparents had a condo, super small. I mean, it's like an apartment.
Right.
They owned it, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. And my mom and I shared a room from 4th grade till senior year of high school.
Wow.
So it's funny because I actually had a client, a fireman, come in. He's like, where are you from? And I said, oh, I'm from Downers Grove. And he's like, oh, little rich girl, huh? And he was giving me shit, you know? I said,
if only you knew, brother. Yeah.
Let me tell you. So my family unit was my grandparents and my mom. And I never saw my dad after 5th grade. He was one of those people that couldn't hold a job. He moved away. He moved to a lot of different places and never saw him again.
Wow.
And
even to this day?
He died.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So it's a weird story, but I mean, he sent me a letter when I was a freshman in college and just said he had bone cancer, and he let me know where he was going to be, and he never did. So imagine leaving your kid with that type of letter, and that,
with
like,
that type of everything. With that, I mean, even, at a young age.
He wrote me at times. He wrote me some cards, but never came back.
Yeah.
He never came back. And I think seeing how bad that illness was made me want to help people. So he was a Vietnam vet.
Okay.
So it really fucked him up with that whole thing. And he had a very important role from what I know there. And I don't know much. He wouldn't talk about it, but he was in those front lines, and
it's not a good place to be.
So alcoholism, and PTSD, obviously. So now I can understand it.
Right.
Then I couldn't. I was little.
Right.
But so then from there, I decided to go to Northern and kind of figure it out. And then I decided I want to help people. Like, I want to make a difference. And I knew I had that in me. I just didn't know what it meant. And I said, I want to be a social worker. Well, I had to leave Northern because their program wasn't accredited. So I came home, went to a Bonsi, got my associate's degree, worked, taught dance. And then I went to ISU because they had a social work program. So I went there, got my degree. And then my first job out of college was, I don't even know how I did it, but I worked in foster care for Cook County.
Okay.
And it was a little private agency through DCFS. And it was called Shelter Incorporated. And I think then that first job was super stressful. Just, testifying against, bio parents, and then having to see them that night.
Yeah.
Testifying to a judge. No, I don't think they're fit still to parent and for these kids to go home, and then seeing them that night.
The
for
parents,
a visit, because I had to facilitate the visits.
Oh, I bet that went over well.
And there's no safety, in that. There's nobody with me. I was alone in buildings with.
I was going to say that. That sounds like
there's no safety
horrible system.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I understand why you would have to testify, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, to then have to
go in the home by yourself.
Yeah.
Well, we'd have to meet in a neutral location. So what's even scarier is our building in we were in Arlington Heights. Everybody left for the day. So we had a room where you could do visits, and they were supervised by me, and those parents would be in there with the kids, and they got 1 hour a week. And I'd be sitting in that office, but still there's nothing.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Or we'd meet at a neutral location like McDonald's or something.
I'm just surprised they didn't have like somebody else supervise the visits.
I know.
Like I said, I guess I kind of get the setup, but at the same time, like
probably has to do with manpower.
Yeah, there's just not enough social workers, and it was, my boss eventually had to go home. She was there all day, so to be there at night. So we worked a lot of evenings, and it took that took a lot of time for a salary position. I mean, my first job out of college, this job paid $25,000 gross. It was poor.
Yeah.
Poor.
Well, no wonder why no one wants to go into social work.
Right. It's a job that I remember walking into my program at ISU, and we all sat down, we're so excited. We're in the program. We're ready to go. And this teacher goes, if you ever think that you're going to make a lot of money in this profession, you better get out. You better leave and go find something else. And we all looked at each other like, shit.
It was a line.
No.
And that's a need. Mm-hmm. We need therapists. Mm-hmm. We need social workers. It's that career is.
It is. God. And if it'll eat you alive too. If you don't know how to take care of yourself, or you let all the stories and different things. I mean, working with those kids, it was so rewarding though. I mean, it was like I was their second mom. There were things I had to teach those kids that parents weren't able to, or foster parents. I was having to move some children from their home the day before Thanksgiving. They had garbage bags.
Yeah.
I had to move these poor kids, and when I left that job, it was really hard because I felt like I was leaving those kids.
Right.
Behind.
Because you were like their only hope that they had.
Yeah. I was the only, I would pick them up from school. I would go to their IEP meetings. I made visits into their home every week. I learned a lot. But in my career, I wanted to make sure I knew a little bit about everything. So I carefully made sure in my decisions with where I was going to work that I was going to be knowledgeable. Because I said in college, I said it to my best friend, I said, I want to sit in that chair someday, and I want to own a practice. Like, I want to sit in that chair and I want to have a private practice. She's like, okay. And I worked backwards. So I worked in foster care, and then I worked with low-income families, birth to 3, where I was checking in on all the families, predominantly Hispanic families. So I learned a lot of Spanish at the time.
There you go.
Yeah, it was really cool. And I worked, with seeing, the babies and then them grow up. And it was a really cool program. Very well known in Aurora and Elgin. It was called Two Rivers Head Start.
Love it.
And that's when I went back to school for my master's, because I knew I had to go do that. And that's when I said, I want to work inpatient psychiatric.
One traumatizing career.
I missed the stories. Yeah.
To another.
I know.
So you're a glutton for punishment.
Yeah, okay. And I also know now, like, when there's codes called and, you walk outside at night and you look up, there's a full moon. Now I know what,
right.
What that means.
Oh, absolutely.
It's laughing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I got my internship there and learned a lot. And that's actually where I worked on the chemical dependency unit a lot. Because I think, full circle, I think that was my healing too, is talking to some of these men that have lost everything.
Everything. That's kind of like how I feel about the podcast.
Yeah.
It's like a therapy session.
Yeah, I can see it.
And it's I don't know what it is, to have someone tell their story about, what they've overcome in life. And it's like, God, it just gets you.
I think there's something to be said to, like, having a space, right? Where somebody feels so safe to just lay out what's going on in their head. Like, stuff that doesn't normally come up in conversations, or like very few people might know about that person. And then here they they sit down and hear, and they're willing to tell everyone, it's, I don't know, it's humbling and
be vulnerable.
Cool,
but it's not easy being vulnerable. Yeah.
No,
not at all.
And luckily over the years, I've learned a style that I just feel helps. It works. I remember my boss in private practice telling me, and it stuck with me. He goes, Melissa, I've done your stats. I've seen your stats. You have no turnover. Nobody leaves you. He's like, in a good way.
Yeah.
But then
amazing.
he's like, the bad thing is nobody leaves you. So it doesn't leave room for new people. But I've had the chance to see my 9-year-olds who are now sophomores in college. I've had a chance, and I'm honored to say, like, to see some of these kids who weren't in a good place, married now, or they're graduating college. I have one girl that is she has been, I get tears when I talk about it, actually.
It's because you care.
I do. I love the teenagers. I love them. And again, teenagers are hard ones for them to open up.
Oh, yeah.
And they're amazing. And I had a girl come in, both her parents disabled. She pretty much had to grow up taking care of them.
Growing up fast.
Yeah.
And that's sad.
And she's amazing.
Yeah.
And so I got her as a sophomore. And, I helped her went through a lot of different things with her. To fast forward, she was leaving for college. And I remember that year where I worked at, it was called Waterford Counseling. I wanted to have something for my teenagers and my adults to carry. So at the time, I made these little wooden hearts. So I thought they could carry in their wallet or in their purse or in their backpack, and I put little sayings on them. And then I got pens for more of my adults, and I put, "You've got this, MJ." So I gave out pens. And I was inspired because I got in a really horrible accident, and we had a convertible, and that was the one day we had the top up, and we got clipped by a really big truck, and I don't even remember any of it. Luckily we were both okay, but I got out of the car and the officer looked at me, and he had a handful of those little religious medals. And he looked at me in the eye and he goes, "You're lucky to be alive. Take one." And my eyes started, I had a little one at home. We were we were on our way to the airport, and we were joking around how we didn't want to get on a flight. Well, that was one way to not get on a flight. But this convertible was effed up. And I have this medal, and to this day, it is in my wallet. Whenever I travel, it's there. And I wish I knew his name, but I was so out of it. I was so out of it. I wish I knew his name, and I wish I could remember his face, because I would have called to thank him.
Do you remember what PD he was with?
No, I was in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
We were in Phoenix, I think. I wouldn't have even known where to start. And I would love to have thanked him, because he inspired me to make those hearts and that pen, because I thought, I have this to carry with me, that I want other people to carry something from me. And so my client, she took a heart that day, and then months later when she was graduating, she's like, "Oh, Melissa, I got these tattoos of this tattoo of my cat." And she's like, "I'm leaving for college, and I just wanted to get a tattoo." And I was like, "That's awesome." And I said, I'm going to miss you. And she goes, "Well, I got another one." And she lifted up the side of her shirt, and on her rib cage, it had my heart with the saying of my writing. Yeah.
I'm getting chills. How'd that make you feel?
I cried.
Yeah.
I was crying. I couldn't believe it. I would have wrote it a little bit. I think it was Be Brave. And that was the one she picked.
I love it.
And to get, a tattoo of my writing,
it's impactful. Think about the way you probably touched her life. Mm-hmm. She literally has your handwriting tattooed on her body.
I know.
That's what you're doing, right? To these young individuals. How does that make you feel?
And many things. I feel honored. I feel happy that I can make a difference. It's all I've ever wanted.
Right. I
feel like, that the trust that's there is, I can't even describe it. I can't describe it. You know, like I said, walking through life with these clients has, you know, really touched me too. They've taught me things.
Right.
And she went on to college and I still saw her, and we just went through her dad passing away right when she was graduating. And again, her mom's disabled. So now her mom's alone in the house.
Right.
So she just moved back. But so, you know, I've been through a lot with her and a lot of people. But I think that, you know, when Jada sold me the business, I didn't dive into first responders yet. You know, I saw some and I saw people for trauma. But when I made that jump, I feel like I was reborn. Like I just...
First responders.
Yes. Like, I don't know what it was, but I'm like, I love this. She was right.
It's because you were back to working with kids.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Actually, my first responders say that all the time. They're like, you love working with teenagers, and we're just like teenagers. So that's why we get along so well.
Exactly.
Yeah, I did. And she was right, you know? And so I did a year of diving in before, half the year before I was, you know, opening the business. I obviously was in the background creating. I was up till midnight on the days the kids went to bed, and the days I didn't work. I was up till midnight, like writing my website, which took forever, you know, coming up with the logo, coming up with the name, you know, getting paneled by insurance companies. And that was stressful. How I want to do scheduling, how I want to, there's so much to it. And, you know, I think that was when I did the ride-alongs, and then I started diving in, and I've done about 9 or 10.
And you were hooked.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's how it all started.
I started doing ride-alongs and kind of getting in there. And then after I started working, I dedicated almost every Friday off. I was either at a fire station or I was doing a ride-along. Yeah, I've done a bunch, and it's really cool. I love it. I want to do more. I just don't always have the time
yeah.
You know, I enjoy them. And I'll never forget, like, one of the days, even just presenting, because I enjoy meeting everybody at the department. And I was at Lombard, and one of the guys is like, do you want to stay for lunch? And I was like, yeah, I would love to, you know, and the table talk, as we've said, you know, that's where the most important talk is, right?
Your first mistake, though, is not asking who was cooking. That could be a bad day.
That's very important.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but they were good.
I was going to say, was it good?
Well, as long as it was
turkey burger, stuffed turkey burgers.
You're not being nice, are you?
No.
Okay.
No, they're really good. But
there's some good cooks. There's some others that you just don't want to cook.
I hear that. And
there's some others that make really good food, but you're going to be in the bathroom the rest of the day.
Yeah. I've had some really good meals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Firemen
do pretty well.
They do. And then, you know, luckily, you know, I was a couple years deep, and they went on a call, and I said, I'm going to clean their stuff for them. So I was in the kitchen, and I was cleaning up their dishes. I had to be careful where I'm putting things because, you know, everything has a place.
I would have been so pissed. You
would have been pissed if I put in the wrong place?
No.
Oh, if I cleaned up?
Yeah.
No,
I used to fight like the probies to do dishes. I don't know why, but I love doing dishes.
Dishes. He puts the rubber gloves on and everything.
No.
The rubber gloves, the apron.
Maybe an apron, but
yeah.
I get sick of getting the dirty dishwater on me.
I just throw it all in the dishwasher.
Same.
But yeah, I feel like at home at some of these departments, I've always wanted to create it to, I mean, we all know like the therapist's coming in today, right? The therapist is coming in today. I don't want it to be that way. I want it to be Mel's coming in today.
It's going to be a great day.
Yeah. I walk into Sycamore, and those guys, they're so funny. And I walk in, and it's like, we're not even getting through what we need to. We're just all laughing, and I'm having a ball. And I even have a reel of it on my Instagram where we're trying to figure out how to put the PowerPoint on the TV. And there's all these cords. And I'm saying, how many firemen does it take to turn on the TV?
A lot. A lot. Trust me, I know from experience. A lot.
A lot. It was hilarious, and everybody's yelling, and you know, some are talking. Everyone's having different conversations. It's chaotic and
busting each other's balls.
Yep. Yep.
The shit talking starts. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't censor around me either. No. They know not to. I don't like. You're fine.
The shit that can come out of their mouths is just...
It's just funny when you're new to a department and they're like, oh, I'm sorry. Kind of like you said, you know, when we were talking in our group text, and I was like, no, it's okay.
I just let things fucking rip.
I mean, right? I mean, the things I hear throughout the day, and I have to censor because, you know, I have guys coming in swearing, you know, and, you know, just being them. And then I have to like close it down because then I have other, you know, civilian, you know, women coming in, you know.
Completely different person.
So I do see teenagers and I do see first responders, but I also have that love for seeing people just, you know, depression, anxiety, life stress, family, you know, issues. I specialize in divorce. So I have a lot of people that I see through that, family therapy.
You guys run the gambit over there.
We try to.
Which is good. You need that.
And my two girls who work for me have extensive experience working with first responders too. So that was going to be my role. You know, I'm only hiring you. Like one girl, she was big with police, you know, and another one. And my other clinician has another job. So she's working on the side at my practice. So hard workers, and they have really good relationships with their first responders too. So that was going to be my role. I'm like, if I'm going to hire you, you need to have experience with this.
Right.
So
yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll get back and we'll start deep diving in some tricks of the trade.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey guys, this episode is brought to you by Murphy Carter Law. This one I'm proud to announce. This is a great partnership with us. They are a phenomenal law firm. I've known Rick for a very long time. He's a fantastic guy. Heart of gold. He supports organizations like Project Fire Buddies who give back to kids with terminal illness. This guy cares. He is a staunch advocate for first responders. He's just a blue collar guy. He really is. He was a union construction worker at one point, and now he's just a shark in the courtroom. And that's just a fact. You're not going to go wrong by going with Murphy Carter Law. I promise you that. They will fight for you like they fight for their own family, like they fight for their mother, like they fight for their father, their brother, or their sister. That's just who they are. And they advocate for you guys. I promise they will fight for you guys tooth and nail. That's what they're all about. To make you guys whole again, or to get you close to that as possible and by any means necessary. They've won major cases already. I have some notes over here. They have $11.5 million truck accident case. They have a $9.5 million medical malpractice case and another $7.1 million delivery truck accident. They handle their business. If you're looking for a lawyer, if you've been in a situation like Carrie and I have, Murphy Carter Law, check them out. Go to murphycarterlaw.com. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Tell them that Beyond the Dispatch sent you. All right, so we're back from break. Off camera, we were talking. You remember the name of the book. Mm-hmm. So what is the book? Shout out the book.
Firefighter Emotional Wellness, How to Reconnect with Yourself and Others.
There we go. Mm-hmm. See, sometimes it just takes a little conversation, a little talking, and then it just pops up.
Yeah.
That's how I am. I'm like, fuck, what's your name? And then like 5 minutes on the road, I'm like, that's what it is.
I have problems with that.
All the time. Yeah. Space cadet over here. Space cadet. But we were also talking before we started recording. You had a program that you started working on. So let's talk about that.
So I'm going to go backwards with it actually, because that's how this program came to be. When I got the business, Jada introduced me to a woman in DeKalb County who handles the mental health piece of this whole thing. And they got a grant written where DeKalb County, so this is DeKalb Police, DeKalb Fire, Sycamore Police, Sycamore Fire. We added Shabanoff Fire and DeKalb County Sheriff.
Okay.
And so this grant covers anyone in any of those departments and a family member or family members who live in the home.
Okay.
And they get free therapy.
Awesome.
It's amazing. So there's maybe about 5 different practices that are on this contract. And the awesome thing about it is many have come forward because they don't know the name. And so this is kind of what got the ball rolling with what we did with Lombard. But basically, John Smith comes to me and he's from Sycamore Fire Department. John Smith is going to be Sycamore firefighter number 1.
Okay.
So I am the only one that knows any of their names. So when we submit it back to who we need to with billing over there, they just want to know where the money is going to, what number.
Right.
And where the money is going. They don't care about anything else. So it's that extra layer of confidentiality.
It's amazing.
I love it. And DeKalb County Sheriff wasn't a part of it. Sheriff came in and, they heard me speak and they go, yeah, we want to be a part of this. So now we're adding into this. So yeah, I've gone into DeKalb, into Sycamore. It is an amazing program. And we've helped wives, we've helped children, teenagers. So that's what's amazing about it. So then at Lombard, Terry and I were talking and Terry's like, I wish we could get something going with, what you talked about, in the presentation about DeKalb and Sycamore. And I said, yeah, I mean, that'd be great. And so we started going back and forth and he came up with using the foreign fire tax. And he goes, what is it, Carrie? Like flashlights, TVs, I don't know. What
Xboxes,
you guys need? What do you guys?
PlayStation 5s, recliners, 75-inch TVs.
All right. Oh, before people get their underwear in a knot here over tax money going for this. So foreign fire tax in Illinois, if you're a business owner and you purchase a fire insurance policy through an out-of-state insurer, you are assessed a 2% tax. That 2% tax is then paid to whatever fire district or department covers your building. Mm-hmm. That money is not supposed, the way it's worded, it's like not supposed to be used for normal operations. It's supposed to be used to like better firemen lives. So you use it for certain things and there's a game with it because the district or the village, whoever, you're a part of can see it, but they can't really like dictate how you use it. So then you have a board that's made up of firemen and the chief that vote on things that you bring forward to use it for. So like we've bought workout shoes or, workout equipment for the station and things like that. We've helped out with the auto pulse for the ambulance. So there has to be like a money in and out legality wise. You can't just let that money sit. So that's why it gets spent on stupid stuff. Because it's like, what do we do with this?
Sure.
Right.
You'll have departments that have like $300,000-$400,000 in this account, and they're like, oh, well, let's buy new 65-inch TVs because we have to have money out.
Right.
So
the fact that Terry and you had the foresight to take that money and use it for something good is just
really good.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wouldn't have known to do that or, and then from there, Terry used my guidance with what I have been doing with DeKalb and Sycamore. And so then we took it to, okay, how nobody's ever done it. So how are we going to do this? How are we going to set this up? And so we came up with it together and that contract is only with my practice. So, like I said, DeKalb and Sycamore that they cover, there's about 5 others. So with Lombard, it's only with me and my clinicians. And the nice thing about it with Lombard, another extra layer with confidentiality is they don't even care about Lombard firefighter number 1, Lombard firefighter number 2. They just want to know how many sessions were used in that month. They don't even care.
That's amazing.
So my biller and their biller, they're just like, how many guys did I see that month? Or maybe I see one guy 5 times in that month. Right. They just want to know how many times and they'll pay me for it. So I think that's cool too. It's worked out really well. Gosh.
I'm just gonna plug it real quick, guys. If you're on a fire department that has a foreign fire tax, like it is a phenomenal situation or setup. Honestly, like Melissa wouldn't be here right now if we didn't have that set up because she was my therapist through the program. And honestly, work with your chiefs, work with your 2% board, see if you could get something like this because it's really a really great resource.
It's amazing. I mean, if we could, I've talked about this with other chiefs and deputy chiefs and they're intrigued. I think it just comes to a point where you need that one person from the department to really go
Hammer
through. Yeah. And Terry
Yeah.
did that.
Amazing.
And, you know, we haven't extended it out to family yet. We haven't gone that far yet because we just wanted to see, you know, how it's going and how many were going to come forward. It's helped that I go present there. I haven't been there in a little while, but they know me. I've been there many times. I did like 2 ride-alongs there. So they're familiar, and I want to keep coming around. You know, I stayed, like I said, for lunch, going to do the bowling tournament. So that way I'm still around.
Yes, right.
And I want it to be me. That is the one thing. It's not me sending a clinician. It's me. Like
Right.
I want to be
You're
in all
getting
of
it,
that.
yes.
So they know me and they know who I am. And it's not just, you know, at this point where I'm sending someone else.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
they know I want to be in it.
No, absolutely.
But it's amazing. It has helped so many. I am floored. I mean, I would even say through DeKalb and Sycamore, I mean, we're at, gosh, maybe like 15 each somewhere, you know, I mean, along the way, if
Amazing.
not more.
Amazing.
If not more.
And that's like 15 people that probably wouldn't have stepped forward if that
Right.
wasn't the case.
Yeah,
the case.
for free therapy.
Yeah, and
Well,
that should be standard across the board. I think for all first responders in the state of Illinois, I think that's something that needs to be passed. A 2% tax, kind of going for across the board. I mean,
From what I know through insurance companies, they should be covering it. I thought there was something with that come to be like, where insurance companies should be covering therapy for first responders, but I have to see also if that's really put in action. Yeah,
Right.
I don't.
because I went through, so I had work comp.
Okay.
And
Oh, yeah.
We can kind of transition to this as well.
Yeah.
But after my work comp was done, they're not going to pay for my therapy anymore.
Yeah.
So I had to get it approved through my insurance, and you're only allowed so many hours or visits a year. But since we talked about work comp, let's roll into it.
Yeah.
You are a big proponent to work comp, and I'm sure you've dealt with a lot of guys, and we talked about it off camera, how a lot of guys struggle with being out of work. Carrie and I both have lived that life, kind of still living it to this day.
Yeah. Well, and I think what's hard is, obviously you're prone to injury. You don't know, or, anything, right? From what you went through, to someone being in an altercation and they get hurt, you don't know, and that is going to happen or if it's going to happen. And what I find is it happens and the process is so slow.
So slow.
Right? And having to prove through PT and having to go through the steroid shots, right? And all of that, and then to surgery. And then I have an officer who had to go through a second surgery.
Yeah.
And then she's out longer. And then she just feels dropped, and I said, it's hard because it just seems to me that everybody, right, moves on and they're moving on through life and with their jobs, and you're just left there at home. And when you're used to being busy and doing your job, and you're at that level of adrenaline, and then to be home in your thoughts.
Alone in your thoughts. Wow.
It's, I have guys who, are on pain meds and get addicted to that, or alcohol, well, I'm not going to work tomorrow. I might as well drink tonight, all day, tonight, whenever, and, I just see the sadness, the depression. I feel useless. I can't move in the way that I'm used to moving, the rehabbing. And then, the being, the light duty, right? And I have a lot of first responders who have anxiety about going back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
can I move this way?
Right.
What about when I put on my vest, my back? I'm worried about getting an altercation, or if I move wrong. I have an officer who had a second surgery, and she's like, I'm nervous about getting into something, an altercation. And what if I turn my back funny and
it's done? Yeah.
And then that, it's like the feelings, left with now what?
Right. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I just feel like it's not talked about enough. Do you feel that way?
About work comps?
Yeah. And just like when something like that happens, like the process, and
it's slow. Yeah. And I mean, I could talk about my shooting afterwards. They didn't want to prove like occupational therapy for me. She's like, you don't need it. And my wife's an occupational therapist. And she's like, absolutely you do.
Yeah.
Absolutely you do. And I literally I was fighting with the work comp lady, and I'm like, fuck this. Like, I called my chief up and I was like, hey, this is what's happening before I come unglued. You know, because I didn't show up to work that day with a gunshot. I'm like, hey, Jimmy, you know, like I got shot in the face. I was cleaning my gun, you know, like cover me for a few hours.
Yeah.
You know, we'll sit on this car and then, you know, we'll come up, we'll conjure something.
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like, they always drag their feet on everything. They always, they don't want to pay you guys. They don't want to pay the doctors. And then now you're getting hit with bills.
And my notes being submitted. I just have one right now where they want my notes. And, you know, us therapists, I mean, once those notes go to someone, you know, there's other things in there.
Yeah.
Private things.
Right. Now, how do you handle that? Do you kind of skew the notes a little bit? Not skew, but
more
write
protective.
it in a certain way where you're protecting your patients.
Yeah. Or what I try and do is write a treatment summary.
Yeah.
So I don't have to submit the notes.
Right.
I mean, obviously, if we have to, we're going to have to, but.
Right.
And I do talk to the client about that too. We have a long talk about that. I try and do the treatment summary though.
Yeah. They just, it turns into a thing of money, and it should be more focused on the officers' mental health and well-being and the injury that they're dealing with.
And I feel for them because I see it in their face and just, you know, again, I feel useless. I'm bored. I'm sad. I can't do anything. You know, I'm stuck in the house.
How about the departments that almost use light duty as punishment?
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's kind of been a big change where I worked. And
like
I was off for 2 years, and they're like, "Hey, this new deputy says you have to come back for light duty." And I was like, "What? Are you kidding me? I've been off for 2 years.
2 years.
I'm in the process of like trying to pension off here.
Right.
I know I'm not coming back, and you're going to tell me now all of a sudden I have to come in 5 days a week,
right?
From 8 to 4:30 every day. Like what?
Yeah.
Doing probably nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And that's it's become a way of punishment. It sucks because it gets that way because you do have people that abuse it, right? Like,
right.
There's
of course.
plenty, just like anything in life that we can't stand. It's because somebody else abused that, right?
Yeah. Messed it up for everyone else.
There's just no thought of like, man, what's that guy going through? What's his head like? How is this going to affect him? You know,
just another number to them.
Yeah, we are. And I think that's part of the reason why, we kind of touched about it earlier. Like there's such dudes that get absorbed in the job.
Yes.
Like, they retire and then it comes to the realization, oh shit, I was just a number. Like I thought that place couldn't survive without me. Guess what? They're getting along just fine. And you missed out on how many baseball games, how many birthdays, how many holidays because you wanted to pick up that overtime shift or you wanted to be the guy that never used a sick day.
You're going to be replaced.
There's my soapbox.
You know, it's true though.
That's my TED Talk for the day.
Yeah. I have guys who have multiple jobs on the side and then they run themselves ragged because, they're in fire, whatnot. I have one guy who has like 4 different jobs on the side. I'm like, dude.
Definitely a fireman.
Yes, definitely. But I'm like, I can't even keep up with what you're telling me.
Right.
I need a family. But there's a component to what we see in the office of being too busy.
Oh, yeah.
And not handling things. I have a couple guys, who are pulling a lot of overtime in certain departments. I mean, the overtime's everywhere, right?
Everywhere, yeah.
And I said, well, so he was in the military, so there's a lot of memories there, and he's in fire. And he goes, I've been working a lot lately. And I know, this is the nice thing of knowing my guys really well. And I said, you have? I go, have you had some dates that you've had to relive? Yeah. Okay, is that why you're working a lot? He goes, I didn't even put that together. I go, it is that time of year.
You don't, though.
No.
And subconsciously, it just starts to happen, and your mood changes.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit, right? Because we don't recognize it, but you guys recognize it. Our family recognizes it. What are some signs to look for in your own self?
I usually look for when someone comes forward. First, they'll say, well, sometimes I get my wife wanted me here. My wife says that I'm unbearable at home. I'm irritable. I'm angry all the time, flying off the handle, you know, and they'll admit it too. You know, I get easily frustrated with my kids. I'm yelling, you know, I don't have any patience. So that's usually one thing that I'm looking for. Or, you know, I don't know why I feel this way. Mm-hmm. I don't understand what's going on with me. You know, if there's tearfulness, you know, isolation is a big one. Obviously substances, drinking more. So there's a lot of things that I'm looking for. The main one is irritability, because with anxiety, with women, you know, we're more emotional, right? Mm-hmm. But with men, with anxiety, it comes out more with irritability. So then I want to look at, what are you anxious about? What are you worried about? What's going on inside?
Right.
To cause the irritability.
And for first responders, it could be fucking
oh my gosh,
anything
yes.
and everything.
Yes. You know, you know what a lot of my firemen say, you know, you guys keep a firehouse clean. You know, they come home after a 48, dishes. Carrie?
Honestly, wouldn't have bothered me.
No?
Carrie loves dishes.
That's right. Carrie loves dishes.
Carrie's like, God, I was hoping there'd be dishes.
So your wife just has it all piled up, ready to go, and you're like, yes.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, I do dishes every night.
His dirty pleasure.
She cooks, I clean up.
I like it. Yeah. I like it.
It's a good combo.
Then you're a therapist and you're getting a video from one of your guys and saying, look what I came home to. I can't believe this shit, you know, and he's videoing the counter and the sink. I'm like, all right, let's calm down. Come on. You know, but little things like that trigger, you know, I cleaned the house before I left for shift, and, you know, I've been a stay-at-home mom. I know how it goes. You know, you're running around after your toddlers, right?
Oh, yeah. Fighting for your life, playing zone defense over there.
God, I'm like, did I shower today? Did I eat today?
Did I brush my teeth?
Yes. So I also know the side of staying at home with your kid and having the dishes piled up. But, you know, for some guys, like, they come home and that's like a huge trigger. The house, being unkept. Because, you know, and I'll validate them. I go, well, you're used to keeping a firehouse clean. You're used to doing your chores, but it's not that way at home.
Right.
You know, so like,
it's all about perspective. I think. It really is. Because it's like you come home from a long shift of running, right. And you're able to do all these things, and you automatically come home expecting that to be done, and it's not. Then that's what sends you off. Yeah. And then you kind of get into your nervous system's all fucked up.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yeah. Especially coming down and, you know, from shift, and, you know, and I can relate to a lot of what the guys say, because while it's not the same job, it's some of the same feelings as a therapist. So like, you know, you're seeing it all, right? You know, and you get home and then you're having to shift to probably being a dad, you know, and then it's like, okay, now I'm taking care of the kids. You know, sometimes, you know, I don't know, I'll hear, well, and I'm going to change that. I hear from a lot of people, well, doing my job is a little easier sometimes than taking care of my kids, right?
Right.
You know, let's all agree, you know, that, and I agree, you know, my girls are 2 years apart, you know, 2 and a newborn. And having to shift from hearing people all day, and I'm giving of myself for 7 hours, and then to turn, and then I'll stay up late because I haven't come down from the job yet.
Yep.
It's not necessarily that I'm thinking about clients. It's just like you're up there, you know, as I'm using my hand, but it takes me a while to come down and just be.
Right.
And then to turn around, and when I was staying at home a couple days a week, it was hard to turn over to being mom then and being home.
Switching that mindset.
Oh my gosh, it was so hard.
Because
so hard.
You listened to 7 hours of people talking about their traumas, you know, seeing dead babies, you know, their partner getting shot, or, you know, their partner being burned or getting hurt in a fire, and they feel responsible. I mean, there's so many different things.
Yeah, one after another. I mean, you think of their calls, right? You know, you have one traumatic call in a day. That's just one. That your job's not done yet.
Nope.
Right? And then you go back and what, you know, and how is everyone dealing with it? I mean, it's the same for us in a way. You know, sometimes I get to the end of my day and I'm like, who did I see today?
Yeah.
You're like, I don't even know. Like, you have to think about it.
I don't remember what I had for breakfast. I don't think I ate lunch.
But I mean, the way I work though, like everybody's different. Some therapists take like an hour break in between. I'm just like 1 to 8, go,
Yeah.
I mean, that's 2 days a week. And then I alter my schedule with the kids. But those 2 days are, busy, and I'm just going straight through.
Yeah.
So
and you need to be in mom mode too.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, well, let's move to this capacity. I use that word a lot in office. Like, think about it. You working all day, and, we have a different type of job, right?
Right.
And you get home, and then what little you have left is this, when we should be devoting it to our families,
right.
But it's not there. And there's no capacity. And this little bit is for our kids, our spouses, our partners, right? Our responsibilities, activities, housework, you name it, right? This little bit.
Personal time too.
Yeah.
Right? Because you need to decompress. You need, sometimes I would come home and I wanted to detach.
Oh, I'm sure.
And shut my brain off and not have to solve a problem and not have to like do this or do that.
I feel that too.
Because like all day, what do?
Yeah.
You're solving problems.
Yeah.
First, firefighters, you're solving problems.
Yeah. You guys,
therapists,
you're
solving
problems.
All you do is solve
That's
problems.
why I say our jobs, that's one thing I learned 3 years ago. I'm like, wow, our jobs really do parallel in some ways, which is why I can see why, many first responders are with like nurses or, nurse practitioners or in the health, medical field, occupational therapists, right? You said your wife is. I get it, because it has some parallels and you understand each other.
Right.
But it's hard when you feel you have nothing left. I mean, I'll go to seeing people all day. I'm picking up my kids, they get in the car and they're like, what's for dinner? I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't know yet.
I'm surprised I have gas in the car right now.
Oh, like on the way here?
Oh, yeah, too.
I go, I don't have gas. I didn't pay attention yesterday. I'm in the day. I am. I'm in the day. But, I think that's where we need to recognize when we're more irritable or on edge or we're overtired or burnt out. I definitely can recognize when I'm burnt out.
Yeah. And I think what helps me is spending time in the present.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yes.
Because it's so fucking easy to get caught up in the past. Yeah. It's so easy to get caught up in what's tomorrow bring, what's next week bring. Now we have Thanksgiving coming up, and then we have Christmas coming up. And then,
the holidays, and so hard.
You just drive yourself crazy.
Uh-huh.
And you don't take that time to, like you said, spend that time with your son or your daughter or your family, your wife, your significant other.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're too busy worrying about what's next. And then all day, all you did was worrying about other people's problems and what's the next call going to bring? What's the next patient going to bring?
Right. Some days it is, I'm like, oh man, I'm not ready for this. And other days it's fine. It just depends on the day. And it really is fine. But I will say, as much as I care about all of my clients, the moment I close that door and lock it up, I don't think about it.
You have to.
I besides running the business side of it and doing intake and things like that, I close the door and I'm no longer a therapist.
Because you need
I can't.
Time to detach. You can't make that career your everything, your personality.
I was going to say, until you make the mistake of mentioning that you're a therapist to somebody outside of work.
Like yesterday. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was just trying to buy a candle. I was just trying to buy a candle. Because my clinician goes, this is a funny story. So like, I like my scents in the office. I have candles, and I try and pick candles that people like pumpkin, vanilla or something like that. And not any floral things. And so my one therapist, she's like, she lit her candle and it's sandalwood. And she goes, I like my candle to smell like a man. And I go, okay, and so I was in a store yesterday and I smelled this candle and it was sandalwood and it made me think of her. And I'm like, I'm just trying to buy a fucking candle.
That's all I want to do.
And I said, I'm using my business account. And she goes, oh, what business? And I'm like, oh, here we go. And I said, oh, I own a private practice, and, for counseling. And she goes, oh, okay, well, yeah, it's been a hard year. And I'm like, oh yeah. She's like, I lost my mother and I lost my, and I feel like I almost like shut down because I can't capacity. Right.
You're at max.
And I'm just smiling. And I said, she's like, yeah, I probably should talk to someone. And I said, well, I have a card in my bag, you can call us if you need, if you need to talk to someone.
Right.
Because I always keep cards in my bag.
Have to.
But yeah, that can be the hard part, same, right? We were saying, if you say you're a cop or, a fireman, what people ask you.
So my girlfriend punched me and I threw her to the ground and then I grabbed her phone when she was calling 911. What am I looking at?
Yeah.
You're looking at you fucked up.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking at.
Yes.
How about not throw your girlfriend to the ground?
Yeah. I had someone, can I ask you a question? And I'm like, here it goes.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure Carrie gets a few weird ones. Like, hey, I have a weird rash. Can you take a look at this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Where's
no, not very much.
Can I?
Well, after this, I have a weird rash. I need you to take a look at it. Right. I need your medical opinion.
I'll check it out.
I'll close my eyes. Yeah, but
there's something to be said about shutting off your brain and detaching and not letting your career kind of like be who you are and your personality, because you're so much more than that. And a lot of guys who, like Carrie we were talking about earlier, of like they get off the job and that's all they knew. Right.
Oh, I have a lot of guys who are retiring or in that mode, and we're trying to problem solve with that.
What are some things that you would tell people?
We start, so I'll explore with them. I said, you have put so much time and energy, into this, and passion, overtimes, holidays missed, right? With your family, and so much time. And it's hard to think of what else am I going to do after this when this is what you planned on doing.
Yeah.
And so first I talk with them about, the grief, because it's like grief and loss, and then we talk about, okay, well, what are some loves? What are some passions you have? What are some things that you've wanted to take up that maybe you haven't had the time to do because you've been working so much? So we go down that road. I have them make lists. We come in and talk about that, and then we kind of go from there. I mean, eventually I feel like they figure it out.
Yeah.
Right? They'll figure it out. I have one guy who is a battalion chief, and he retired, and he is now working for a company where he delivers the organs, the organ delivery. Yeah. And he goes, he's cute. He was laughing. He goes, well, you have my little light on the car still, he's trying to make the best of it.
Making wee-woo noises with your mouth out the window.
Yeah.
Well, this kind of looks like a buggy still.
Yeah, right. He's trying. But he goes, in a way, I feel like I'm seeing another side. I still feel like I'm giving back because I'm bringing that heart to the hospital, or I'm playing a role. And I think to him, he wants to still feel like he is valuable or has a purpose. And this is his new way of having a purpose. He's retired. His kids are happy. His wife is happy. They're so glad he left, and he left a department that, wasn't for him. And now he's finding a new meaning in life. He has a therapy dog, and he brings it to hospitals, and he comes in my office. Oh, he's so cute.
Do you think he tells the other Gift of Hope drivers like they should polish their vehicles?
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he's looking at, I'm sure he's,
you gotta shine those tires.
Yeah.
Gotta shine those tires.
You better
baby.
Clean that car. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It ain't looking good.
Battalion chiefs.
Yeah.
Carrie's favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heard many stories there.
They can make or break your day.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I have one story. One guy, one of my guys, he has a battalion, and they don't get along so well. And so what they did is for dinner decided to make all the things that he doesn't like.
That sounds about right. That checks.
Right?
Yeah, it's pretty usual.
It's like, yeah. He's like, I made the menu. I know it isn't like, that's for dinner tonight. I go, okay.
It's a little victories.
This is what we're going to do here.
It's a little victories. You fucking wrote me up.
I know.
Now I'm making pot roast.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I know you hate pot roast.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And onions and all of that.
Yeah, we used to have a lieutenant that guys would do that too sometimes.
Yeah, that was a new one for me. I had not heard it. So I was like, what? Okay.
I think my favorite story I've ever heard is we had a chief years ago. This was before I was working there. Horrible chief, horrible village management at the time. Did not get along, right? Basically, the union was grieving something every day. So this chief would make his rounds and go to the houses. And I guess when he would get to the guys would see him pulling into the south house in his buggy, and they would go to the coffee maker and dump out all the coffee. So there's no coffee. And he'd always walk in and what kind of firehouse is this? You got no coffee?
No.
And they're like, yep, nope. He'd sit at the kitchen table. Everybody would walk out.
He just needs his own personal Keurig. It's not happening.
Yeah. Guys were pretty happy when he left.
Yeah, I'm sure.
In law enforcement, we call that a clue.
Yeah.
And you should probably pay the fuck attention.
Yeah.
When everyone gets the fuck up and leaves.
Well, this guy definitely did not get the chief job for being smart. So.
Yeah.
Well, there's a few of those.
Yeah, many.
There's a lot of those.
Anyways, back to mental health.
Back to what we're here for.
Speaking of mental health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so you have to deal with a lot. A lot of things. Do you remember a time that would probably be kind of chalked up to like the hardest time in your career as a therapist?
Yeah. I mean, I will say on the side, I am not a therapist who is completely closed off. I think that's what makes me real. I have a therapist, and I remember her talking about a couple things like about medication or just different things. And I go, wow, her too, huh? Or marital struggles. I will say that's now.
Yeah.
I'm going through a divorce and I own a business and I have 2 girls to, keep stable. And I'm still hiring clinicians. I'm doing the background. I have a really good support system though. Amazing.
Need it.
Support system. I'm so grateful. My parents are so supportive. My best friends, they're checking in on me. I have so many important people in my circle. So yeah, I would say now, I mean, there's many days where I've, around the holidays was really hard last year. It was we had just moved out and
not just hard for you, but for the girls and all that.
Yeah,
right?
and just making sure they're stable and they're okay, and their dad and I have a good we have a good relationship together where we're talking.
Right.
We're showing them for them.
Right.
The background can be hard, but it's important for them to see, especially that we're getting along, which makes me so sensitive in office when I see a lot of kids whose parents are fighting. And they're saying, Miss Melissa, I just wish they'd get divorced because they fight so much, or they are getting divorced and they're fighting so much. It's hard when you're going through it yourself. But I think that's what has made me real is while I don't share all personal things all the time, but I'm like, yeah, I get it. It's really fucking hard to be a single mom now. And I have no tag team. I have nothing,
right.
I do dinner, I do activities. I'm leaving the business. There's days where the business suffers because I don't have time to do it and my head is spinning and I'm tired. But I think that my clients have told me, they're like, I really appreciate what you've shared because it makes you real. And that was the one thing I would always stand by is I want to be real and I want to be genuine. And I don't want to have, as I put my hand in front of my face, like I don't want to be put on this pedestal where, her life looks perfect. Yeah.
Right.
Because she must be fine.
Because like what we do every day, you go on social media.
Yeah.
And you see
it's
all
hard.
These people, like they look like they're in this beautiful, happy marriage.
And going to Mexico and these resorts. And we were big on taking trips. So I'm grieving that. And, just, showing up things that, you have a hard time around holidays. Through all the holidays, I felt a sense of worth and, even though I'm this businesswoman, I'm throwing these beautiful holidays with all of our family, and we're the hub. And now I can't, and so I think that has been hard. I also lost my grandmother a couple years ago. And as I said, I lived with my grandparents.
Right.
My grandparents were my parents. I'm actually wearing her ring today.
Oh,
I wear it
beautiful.
and thank you. I wear it on important days.
Is this considered an important day?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I wear it on
I feel
important
honored.
day.
I didn't know we were important.
You are very important.
She's gonna leave her like, these guys are fucking assholes.
I'm coming back.
Yeah, right.
I want to come back. No, I think that was a really hard time to do private practice and to show up to work. And as you guys know, again, I parallel this. You're having maybe some issues in your marriage, or you're having maybe loss of a parent, or a parent has cancer, and you're still having to show up to work with that game face on, like ready to go. And it's hard.
Super hard.
It's hard.
I remember losing my best friend to suicide. Gosh. And I was a new patrolman, and I burned my vacation days. And I already burnt a bunch from when I had my son, who stayed in the NICU for like a month, right? Yeah. So I had to go back to work before I was even close to being ready. And I would remember sitting behind like an abandoned Dominic's, just crying. A song would come on, and it would just smoke me out of nowhere. Yeah. Or I would go on a call, and it would be like a suicidal subject, and it would just wreck me.
Personal life, and then when it crosses over into the job.
It's so hard. Yeah. It's so hard. And I don't know how I guess how everyone develops PTSD over time, and then, that's how you become, I guess, dead inside, because I would just compartmentalize it. Yeah. And I would just push it down. I don't have time for this.
Yeah. I had a similar thing happen where 2 years ago, my high school friend committed suicide, and he was in Iraq, and he was in those early years, the early 2000s. Yeah.
When it was
Circle of Death.
Heavy.
Circle of Death.
Carrie, Circle of Death? You're talking about like in a conflict in 2002?
Yeah.
It had been Afghanistan.
He was in Afghanistan too. And yes. And he wrote the message on Facebook, like his suicide note on Facebook. I am, I can't even, it was just, people read it. I woke up in the morning and I was like, this is, I just thought it was one of those copied things about military, something. And he said, I want my wife to be taken care of and my child. And he shot himself in the house with his wife and his child.
Let's go into suicide, and let's go into depression. I think that's a big topic to talk about, because I've experienced it. Yeah. I'm sure Carrie's experienced it. When your life is turned upside down, you get into this rut and you find rock bottom, and you feel like you are just not worthy, and everything you do is, a burden to everyone, or you feel like you're a burden to everybody. What are the I guess not the signs to look for, but I guess from your point of view of being this therapist, like what are these people experiencing? Because like I've experienced it, but it's hard for me to actually explain that feeling.
Well, and this is the thing, like to start with, I think it helped that I worked in a psych hospital, because I will say suicide for me, and I can't speak for other therapists, I'm not freaking out right then and there, especially when you're working with first responders. They would be afraid to tell you that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I'm not telling her I don't want to lose my gun, or I don't want to be admitted, but you have to look for certain things. I'm looking for that worthlessness, like my family would be better without me, people would be better off without me, or are they starting to clear their accounts, or starting to make certain moves that you're like, that's not characteristic of
giving things away,
drinking more. And that's one thing I talk about too, is, the suicide rate is high because, there's usually substances in someone's body. Yeah. They're either drunk, and men are more likely to carry it out than women. And that's why I go back to first responders when I'm doing my presentations. I'm like, this is what we need to look at is, this, depth of despair, this depression. Again, I go back to workman's comp. Like, are there some guys who are so depressed? Like, I may never be able to work again. That's what I'm looking for, is those guys who are at home, and alone. And I am asking the questions.
Yeah, because in work comp, you're not making the same. Yes, you're getting paid. Yeah, right. But you're not making the same money.
Providing kids, all of it. So, and it's not. And so I'm going to speak of my friend Paul. I mean, this is a guy who owns his own business, a detailing company, huge successful company, realtor on the side. They were traveling. Him and his wife and his son were traveling. I mean, this guy was happy all the time. Like everybody knew Paul as, I share a godchild with him.
Happiest guy ever, right?
Right. And we didn't hang out in the same crowd in high school. It was more after high school. Our one friends are the hub. They have 5 girls. And so we're godparents for them. But when I read that note, I'm like, oh my God, this is real. And I called my friend and she said, it happened. I had to go 2 days later. So this was a Wednesday. That Friday, I already had planned. I was teaching at ECC at their location. I was going to be in front of a bunch of officers teaching emotional wellness. That morning, I had to be at Sycamore Fire Department talking about suicide and depression. I honestly think that it almost helped I was in shock.
Yeah.
I don't know how I got it. Like, I don't know how I got it out. I'm like, so it goes back to the real, the rawness. I lost my friend 2 days ago. He shot himself, and
2 days ago from now.
Back then.
Yeah.
So that was a Wednesday.
Yeah.
This was already pre-planned.
Yeah.
I had to call the chief. I'm like, I'm still coming. This is going to be a part of my healing.
Yeah.
I'm still coming. And I showed up and it was the first time I met all the guys at Sycamore. And I did. I said, it's not like you're looking for the sympathy here. I'm just saying, my friend killed himself 2 days ago and I'm still in this. Yeah. And I then had to go straight to ECC to teach that day. I'm not giving up. Like, I got to keep going.
Yeah.
I can't cancel on all these people who
need you. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just real about it. And I had a couple guys come up to me. They're like, I don't know how you did that. And I go, I don't either. You just do. It's just resilience and, and healing. And that's part of PTSD is like, when you're ready to tell your story, and that's to me, like speaking, even you doing this is a part of the healing process, so, honestly, again, like Paul, that wasn't, that cookie cutter,
Yeah.
There were no signs.
Sometimes those are the guys.
That's what I worry about.
A lot of times those are the guys.
Yep.
They put up that front, they put up that mask and they disguise it, but he was probably a giver, right?
Oh yeah.
And he always probably put himself last.
Yes. Oh yeah, he did. His friends were he loved his friends. He loved, having fun with his wife, his family. I mean, that's all you saw online. Like he was one of the ones you're like, wow, I want their life, And she, it's, every day is, a fight and his son is growing and, she makes posts about it and it's still hard to believe.
Yeah.
But I feel like, you still have to keep going. And I feel in this job, that's what I'm trying to do. I show up and I do what I have to do and I'm there to help because that is my mission. And, to show people like, I know there's many days I feel like crawling in a hole. There's many days I cry. There's many days that, I'm overtired and I don't feel like going, but I'm still here.
Yeah. And that mountain you look up at and you're like, how am I going to climb this?
How am I going to do that? Yeah.
But you do. You find you always find a way. Everyone, like you guys got to remember this. You're so much stronger than you really think you are.
Yeah.
So much more stronger than you think you are.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's something I want to bring up too is like the spider web effect, right? Of someone taking their life and then someone like your friend Paul, who was just a great guy. It affects so many people.
Yeah.
So many people suffer. So you might think you're not meant to be here. You might think everyone else is better off without you.
Yeah.
But it's the exact opposite.
It is. I try and talk with that, in that respect with, the people that would be affected and then those people being affected. I mean, I had clients at the time at the other practice where there was this group of boys, teenage boys at Oswego High School. And no, it wasn't Oswego, it was Neuqua. And 2 of their friends within a year killed themselves. 2. And this was only maybe 5 boys. So the second one mirrored the other one.
Oh, God.
And so I have these 2 guys coming in, trying to pick up the pieces because both their friends killed themselves.
Yeah.
And yeah, the parents and just everyone around, and these kids who are losing kids their age, you know, in the high schools, and keeping them together.
And if they're already struggling with depression, I mean, that you got the copycat situation.
Yeah. Yep. If they're struggling with that, or, you know, high anxiety, you know, panic attacks. I just want this to end. Schizophrenics, you know, who aren't, you know, who are showing early signs.
Yeah.
You know, and they're not diagnosed yet. It is. It's concerning. I have a guy who I saw for a while, and he was dealing with alcoholism. He was within the fire service, and DUI. Yeah. Another DUI. Girlfriend left him. You know.
Slippery slope.
That's
there.
the one I'm worried. You know, isn't at the fire department anymore. You know, so it's like you lose your job, you get a couple DUIs, you know, go through a breakup. It's a lot of loss there.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
That's what I worry about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talked about cats in school. I had some friends down in Florida that her niece and nephew at the school, one kid committed suicide, and then the next day another kid, and then the next day a third kid.
Yeah.
Now, the contributors to that, do you think social media has a huge
oh
play
my gosh,
into it?
Yes. I see many teachers actually. And one of the teachers I have, he works at a junior high, and he tells me how these 6th graders are already trying to kill themselves.
Yeah.
6th grade.
Yep.
And yes.
Nuts.
And the bullying.
I was literally just about to touch on the bullying, because at school back in the day before they had cell phones, you probably get bullied at school, maybe around the block, but then you had some relief. There's no
my gosh.
relief.
It's insane. These kids with Snapchat and, you know, Instagram and all this, and I feel for my teenagers, you know, like what they're going through. They're being videoed. At times they don't know they're being videoed, or
they're sending pictures that they should be sending. Someone wrote for my niece, like, I hate you.
Yeah, you should die.
Over a boy.
Why don't you go kill yourself?
Over a boy. Mm-hmm. She didn't say any of that, but that does happen all the time.
Oh yeah, I have little girls who've come to me, and they've had other kids say, like, why don't you go kill yourself? I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Never would have said that back, you know. I first of all never would have said that, but I never heard that stuff in my generation.
No, ever. And
we didn't have to deal with that, you know. So I am seeing a lot in my teens with social media and the effects it's having.
Oh, it's detrimental to them.
It is.
And it needs to slow the fuck down, honestly, what it needs to do. And kids probably shouldn't be on social media until a certain age. That's my personal opinion.
I agree. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it kind of ties back into my next question of, like, kids, like, we don't know, like, what everyone goes through in life, or what the struggles they've had, and or what their home life looks like, right?
Oh yeah.
And that kind of translates into first responders with kids who have parents in law enforcement or military or what have you, or firefighters. They also go through a different type of life than a normal kid goes through. And
they do.
the parents come home and they could be detached and or angry or acting out and yada yada yada. But like, we have to be cognizant of that for children, because they're so impressionable. Like your upbringing. Yeah. Losing your dad at 4 years old, or leaving your dad's. Yeah. And then he was an alcoholic. And what did that play on you? I mean,
it was, I mean, it definitely had an effect on me. Luckily my grandpa came through, which is why it was hard for me to lose him too. 'Cause he was like my dad. Yeah. And I had a lot of good role models. My mom started dating my stepdad in 5th grade. So he was there for everything. And what's cool now is, he's a grandpa now with my 2 girls. So he's kind of while he didn't see me as a baby, he met me in 5th grade. And my parents didn't get married till I graduated high school. My mom put her whole life on hold so that I could go to the school I wanted to, and my dance, and be active in dance. And so when my parents got married, my mom was able to like live her life, but I had really good role models. So I think that helped. But I also think that, I think the abandonment part, I've had to really recognize that in my own relationships too.
Absolutely. But you probably don't recognize
You don't
until
to go through therapy and all that.
And like, oh shit.
Yeah, no
that's
kidding. From. And the partners we pick,
mm-hmm.
And I think that, a lot of these kids that I see whose parents are first responders, there's a lot of, I have to really talk mostly to the dads who are first responders and about the, highly critical, or what's your plan? Where are you going to go for college? What are you doing? And then I'm talking to the kid and they're like, I just don't know what I want to do. Or I have some kids who are gay, lesbian, bisexual, and
then you have to deal with that.
Yeah. And maybe, mom or dad have certain views on that. So yeah, I do see a lot of kids, they're without their mom or dad on holidays, or they won't see their mom and dad for hours, 48 hours, if they're pulling, an overtime shift, or worried about their parents,
right.
They have a lot of worry.
Absolutely. We just had a guy on who was ran over, and the first thing he did was call his wife and then wanted to call his son.
Yeah.
And his son was like, how old Carrie at the time? 7-ish?
7, yeah.
7.
Yeah.
And he was playing video games and he's like, hey, I love you. And he's like, oh, I love you too, Dad. He's like, no, listen, whatever happens today, I just want to let you know I love you. And he said that his tone and his voice switched. And he's like, I feel bad because like I think I made him grow up faster than he.
Yeah. Yeah. And the worry of, I don't know if I'm going to come home,
So what's some advice you can give first responders or anyone, nurses, doctors, because it's kind of a similar career path of seeing traumatic things nonstop. What's some advice you can give to the listeners who have family members and children?
I think one of the things is, going back to what you said, is being in the present.
Yeah.
I think that is so important. Like, having traditions that the kids can look forward to, or, having those experiences, but being present. I saw a speaker once and he was in the military. He was a fireman and a cop. And he said, I was going home and abusing my family, verbally, but I was abusing my family, and I didn't know what was going on with me. I didn't know it was PTSD. So I also talk about, not going home, in a certain, being able to collect yourself. Do you got to go work out? Once shift is over, do you want to let your wife know when you get home, hey, I need a half hour. I just need to collect myself before everybody starts in. And, I think recognizing, do I feel irritable? Do I feel tired? I need a nap today. Even, for guys who aren't on shift that day, I'm like, if you need a nap, you need a nap.
Right.
If you were running calls all night,
take the nap.
Take the nap. But I got to do this, this, and this. It can fucking wait.
It can wait. You're a better person for yourself and your family.
You're a dad and a husband, all this stuff. It can wait. Take a nap. Go work out. Go do something you love. I have guys who are in jujitsu.
Yeah, I love jujitsu. Yeah.
And yoga. And right. So, it can help. Right. And so, I talk with them about, leaving the job, at the, leaving it there.
And I think recognition too. Yeah. If you see, I think recognition is very big.
Yeah.
And if you don't recognize it, you're just going to keep going down that path. But it's just like, oh, I was sharp, or I was kind of cruel, or I was kind of aggressive when I said this. Maybe you need to take a step back and step out of the room.
Yeah.
Collect your thoughts. Maybe do some breath work. I'm a huge fan of breath work.
Yeah. I have a family I'm helping right now, and their dad is going through a lot. He's in fire, and the kids are really affected by it, affected by the anger, and just even getting dad to realize like how the anger has really affected them.
Yeah.
And the kids kind of retracting, like, we're okay if dad's not here.
Yeah.
And trying to make him see like, we can't have that.
Yeah.
You don't want it where your kids don't want you at home.
So how do you make someone see that? Do you kind of let them lead to their, like, kind of build themselves to that road, or do you kind of mention it or bring it to their attention?
I mean, so it's hard because our roles can be very different. Like my role with that particular fireman is it's family therapy right now. So that's my only role. He has a therapist too.
Right.
So my role is for all of us to be, for all of us to talk about how the kids are affected and what in particular is affecting them. So trying gently say, hey, you're hearing what your kids are saying. You're hearing that there's fear there.
Right.
And being made to feel guilty.
Yeah.
And so I do think with, things come to a head, and certain decisions may need to be made.
Right.
We're talking, right now there's the Center for Excellence, where, guys in the service can go and work on their depression and anxiety and PTSD. So things like that, bumping up therapy, going to do a day program.
Yeah.
I think the hardest part is, people understanding the job. I think that's why it's so important to be a first responder therapist, because, I've had guys go to talk to other therapists and they're like, wait a minute, I don't get the shifts, or right. I don't understand this, or they're asking certain questions.
And now there's certain hurdles.
Right. And I don't want to explain that.
Exactly.
I just want you to understand and know.
Yes.
And I'll help them make connections. I'm like, well, I know I'm a certain way through my job, and in my personal life,
right.
the way I can be, this is how you might be because of the job. Maybe you're feeling this way, and then you're taking this feeling home, and then you're affecting the family in a certain way, and then everyone's left to have their feelings about it, so I try and help them make connections. Like if they're not around and they're too busy, what are you going through?
Mm-hmm.
Being too busy. I don't want to focus on that. I'm going to put that in a box. I'm going to put that on a shelf. I want to talk about, yeah. I don't want to talk about it.
Experts at it.
And realizing the being too busy and having many jobs, and how that'll run you more exhausted. And, so I think that, it's important to have awareness. So I talk about the ABCs: awareness, balance, connection, right?
Huge.
Using your awareness. So what is going on with me? What do I feel? I'm burnt out lately. I'm tired. I'm irritable. I haven't been to the gym. I haven't been doing what I love. I've had a lot of commitments lately. So awareness, and then putting balance in. Where's the balance? When you're tipped, it's not good.
First responders have a hard time with balance.
Yes.
I know that for a fact.
Carrying a lot of weight.
Yep.
Right. And it's not always going to be equal. We're going to tip at times, but where can you implement balance? And then connection, connection with your family, your kids, right? Your kids, your wife, with friends, being able to go out, maybe for a date, or guys going out with the guys, taking a guy's trip, golf trip. Yep, you do. I need it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love my girls' trips.
I think that's advice for anybody.
Yeah, I do. I love connecting with my girlfriends if we go away. I love traveling. And I think that, I also talk with more of my guys because they're getting a female perspective of it's not always about putting the kids first.
Right.
You got to put your marriage first. Too.
And we forget that. I think a lot of adults forget that.
Yeah, they do.
Because you had kids, right? Mm-hmm. So now your main...
There are everything.
Yeah. Now your main responsibility is putting all of your love and attention into making sure that they have the best child that they possibly can. And then we always forget to work on, the original marriage. Like the original... How did that start? Yeah.
Because like we said, you're bringing everything in. You're bringing it in from the job and in what you feel and capacity. And then you come home and you have no capacity. And then you two are parenting your kid. You put them to bed and you look at each other and you're like,
I can't even function right now, right? Because you're
I have nothing left.
That's how I feel. Yeah. At the end of the day, like
I'm
fucking exhausted. My brain's fried. Like I don't want to think. I don't want to have a conversation. All I want to do is sit here and veg out.
Yeah. And there's, a lot of my clients will say, I don't want to get in an argument, or, I don't want to talk about this because I don't want it to lead. And I go, who says it's going to lead to conflict?
Right. Why can't you have an adult conversation? Yeah. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like there's so many times you can just be like, hey, listen, I want to bring something up.
Yeah.
I don't want you to take it in a negative way. I'm not attacking you. This is not an attack on you. This is something that bugs me.
Yeah.
This is what it is. X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And you would be surprised how well that conversation can turn out to be. But you also have to remember, too, to take the time when someone says something to you that's going to trigger you. The most important time in that conversation is the time where you have your mouth shut and you're processing it. Take that extra few seconds to process what they said. Try to put a third person viewpoint on it and be like, okay, well, she said this.
Right.
It fucking set me off. Okay, what does she really mean?
Yeah.
Maybe ask a follow-up question.
Yeah.
You know, instead of just reacting to emotion and to actually react to it logically.
Yeah, and I think there's also the important piece of saying, I'm sorry.
Yes.
But not I'm sorry, but you did
this.
You know?
That's not...
But you set me off. And you know, but... You know, there is a piece to that. So I also teach the anger iceberg. Have you ever seen that? Like an iceberg on the outside, it can say angry, and underneath are all the emotions. So that's how I explain when I go to fire departments. I'm like, we're going to look at this visual. We like pictures, right?
We love pictures.
I know. We like pictures. And I feel like...
Even like a scratch and sniff?
Yeah.
Give me a fucking scratch and sniff. Give me all the senses.
I have sensory stickers, you know, with my business on it. And like, let's follow the arrow. Let breathe in, breathe out.
A little color code. It catches our eye. We're simple creatures.
Yeah. Let's follow it. What were we talking about? No, I lost my train of thought.
We were talking about the anger iceberg.
Anger iceberg. So I have this example where a husband and wife were arguing, and he's a first responder. And she said, "You're not our hero." And so it's interesting to see, because, you know, I'm talking to mostly men, you know, to see their faces like, oh, shit, you know, and they have 2 kids. And I said, you know, I said to him, I go, what did you feel? Well, I was fucking mad. You know, no. I show him the visual of the anger iceberg. I'm like, what did you really feel? You know, what did you, like, look at this.
Probably
hurt, disrespected.
Yeah.
I said, so let's go back to that moment. She said, "You're not our hero." I go, anger was the second emotion, but what did you feel in those first couple seconds?
Right.
I felt disrespected. My girls are my world. I want to be their hero. I am their hero.
Everything
for her
I
to
do,
say that,
yes.
I go, you know, and so we talked about it, but man, you know, that was hard for him to hear.
Absolutely. Now, ego. Ego is huge, I think, personally.
Yeah.
And, you know, your ego you develop through the years to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So you're protecting yourself from what? Fear.
Yeah.
Embarrassment.
Yeah.
You know?
Vulnerability.
Oh,
it's so hard for guys to...
Oh, absolutely. And then on top of that, of, you know, being a firefighter, being a cop, being in the military.
I'm taught to be tough. So I have this picture in my presentation of a little boy with a Superman cape. And I say to the guys, I go, so you see this little boy with a Superman cape, and he's like 3, okay? And he falls. What do you say to him when he gets up?
What would you say? What would I say? You're good, buddy.
Yeah. Little girl falls at 3. What are you going to do? What are you going to say?
I'd probably say the same.
Would you?
Yeah, I say the same.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I tell my daughter to brush it off all the time.
Like, you're okay.
You're all right, honey. Yeah.
I think that,
I also wait to see what they'll, like,
the
how
reaction.
they reaction. Yeah.
Yes. You want to see the reaction. I guess what I'm trying to say is with little girls, you know, some people tend to coddle, like, oh,
I could see that for sure.
Right? Your little girl. And the boy, nope, you're tough. Get up. So you're taught from young to be tough, to not show emotion. Right. And then it's such a turn when you're going through whatever you're struggling with. And it's like, now I'm taught all these years to be tough, and in my department to be tough. And I'm seeing, you know, children die and people get shot, and I'm seeing people mangled in car accidents, and I have to still be tough. Like, it's like you're just expected to just get up and carry on with life. Right. But think about from young, you know, men in the way they're raised, especially their fathers, right? And if they grew up with a first responder parent too, and then, you know, as girls, we're more emotional. We're in our emotions. So, you know, we're more apt to be vulnerable, whereas men coming through my office, especially, they'll sit down and be like, I don't even know what to do here. Like, I don't even know. And I said, it's okay. It's my job.
Right.
It's my job to help guide you. And we're just going to talk, let's just talk.
Right.
This doesn't have to be anything deep yet. We're just meeting here, and I just want to learn a little bit about you. But I have many that'll say, I didn't believe in this. I found myself here, and this is all foreign to me.
Right. Or even give it the opportunity to actually work, because therapy only works if you actually give it the opportunity to work.
Right.
And you put the work in.
Yeah. Yeah. I said a lot of the work that you will do is not in here. It's out there.
Oh, yeah.
It's out there. You have to go and implement and learn what I taught, and what we talk about, and in the way you talk to your wife, and the way you talk to your kids, and the way you talk to your coworkers, and the way you are. Don't be that toxic person coming in. Nobody wants,
Because it's so often everyone forgets where they came from, or forgets that they were actually in the same position at one point in time. And again, that just comes back to ego. And I honestly, my one advice to anyone would be, check your fucking ego.
Yeah.
Check it, because that had gotten you through so many things in life. But at the same time, that's not who you are as a person. You're way more than that.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of self-reflection to kind of realize that.
Yeah.
Because it's okay to be vulnerable. There's nothing wrong with that. And I find it actually super refreshing, because when we started this podcast, Carrie and I did our origin episodes, right? Of this is my story, this is Carrie's story. Yeah. And I went into it like, I'm going to talk about everything. There's nothing that I'm going to hide, even if I'm embarrassed about it. I don't give a fuck, because at the end, afterwards, it was like a weight lifted off my shoulders. Yeah. Because I left it all out there. And what I find very interesting is when you are that kind of vulnerable and you're comfortable with it, and your struggles that you went through, nothing can really bother you.
No,
right?
I agree with you. Yeah.
Because what your struggles and the things that challenge you throughout your life make you who you are.
Yeah. Completely. I respect all of, and obviously I have more first responders who are males than females, but the males that come through my door, I have so much respect for. So much respect. It's actually taught me a lot too. And I've learned a lot, and I've learned styles of what works and maybe what might not. But, I think that I have this genuine respect for men who come forward and say, I need help. I've got a problem. And they're crying in my office, and and I'm the only one who knows certain things that nobody else knows.
Right.
There's something sacred about that, and those walls and in that tiny office of things that are shared and trusting me.
Right. With all their deepest, darkest secrets that they don't tell anyone.
I have one guy who is in the military, and he shared things with me that he has not told anybody, not even his wife or his kids. Certain missions he's gone on, certain things he's been affected by. And this is an older guy, and he's a battalion chief. He wouldn't have just walked in for therapy. I had to prove myself when I went there on a ride along. Like the day I walked in there, Chief dropped me off, and he's like, all right, Melissa's going to ride along today. And he looked at me like, who the fuck are you?
Right.
Right. So, I've had to prove myself too. Like, I know, I'm aware. Who's this little blonde walking in?
Right. Right. Absolutely. Because that's
me judged.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And he looked at me, and we still joke about it. And I sent one of my clinicians for a ride along at, his station. I go, don't be giving her who the fuck are you look. I go, we don't want to scare her away. Okay. You can only do that to me. I go, fix your face.
Fix your resting bitch face. Fix your face.
Fix your face. So,
all of it, just fix it.
Yeah. All of it. But and then this is a guy who came forward and said, I probably really need to talk.
Yeah.
So I think
living with that for so long has to be exhausting.
Yeah. I think he leaves there, and sometimes he just doesn't want to talk about it. Sometimes he just wants to talk about, his grandkids, his kids, what he's doing on his off time, but I think it helps for him to be accountable. And it's been interesting to see, because I handle so many of these, in the DeKalb County area, those departments, people see him come in and out.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I don't know who's next.
Right.
Or sometimes I do, and I'll warn Not that guys need it, but you know, I do try and be mindful. Like, hey, there's a guy from your department coming in right after. You know, are you cool with? You know, I just you know, I try and be mindful of that too. Most don't care.
No, it shouldn't. There's no shame in it.
But I'd also like someone way in the waiting room. You never know. Yeah. So I think by seeing him walk out and the younger ones seeing him, like, holy shit.
It's probably more beneficial than anything. Exactly.
And
so
I don't know.
If he can go, I can go.
Right. And they've said it. They're like, whoa, he's here? I'm like, yep.
Yep. See, you can do it too.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't be ashamed of it.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be ashamed of it.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break and then we'll be right back.
All right. Thank you.
Let's talk about art.
So art is a form of therapy used for trauma, anxiety, depression, but it's called accelerated resolution therapy. So what it does is you're running through a script in an hour and you're using hand movements too, to, in a sense, desensitize.
Oh, Italians must love that thing. Because we talk all the time.
Yeah. And you're following my hand. So the whole idea of it is, while watching my hand, you're running through the things I'm asking you to do. Mostly you're seeing. Mm-hmm. So think of, something that's been traumatic. You're running through the scene in your head. And then you're going to run through it again. So likely what we hope is that the first time is probably the worst that you're seeing it. But I'm using my hand like this in front of you to follow that while you're running through your scene.
So you'd be moving your hand and then I would be talking about
not talking. So you're going to be thinking it all in your head. So the whole idea with art is that it's less on the therapist taking it in. And on the client, it's less too, because you're running through it through your head and you're running the scene through your head. And I'm running through a script of telling you what to do. Okay. And you're forming all this in your head, and any emotions and sensations you feel, we're also processing that out through hand movements. It's really interesting. So what it's supposed to do is you're left with the facts of the trauma, but the negative feelings and sensations are supposed to go away. And usually I've seen in an hour, it has held true. And sometimes it may take more than that.
Right.
Sometimes I don't want to make any promises here, but it's so sacred that I had to go away for the weekend to learn it. 8 hours a day.
Really?
Exhausting.
Oh, I bet.
Because you're the client and the therapist, but you're practicing this. You can't really find it on a YouTube or anything, and you sign your life away that you're not supposed to teach it to other therapists. You have to go away to learn this.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. And so, again, what we had to do, and this was interesting, we as therapists had to pick our own traumas. And so we're practicing on each other. So I'm with the same group of women. And there's people who are skeptical of this. So when you go in on a Thursday, I may have went Thursday to Sunday or Friday to Sunday. When you're going in, they're showing us YouTubes and videos of this therapy that's been formed. And you're looking at this like, this is like a hypnotism or something.
Right.
You're looking at it and you're skeptical. Like there are many therapists who are skeptical. But I'm here, I'm going to learn this. And it's intimidating because it's a longer script that you're running people through. And so if you think about it, we were practicing on each other, not knowing what we're doing, and it worked on us. Now, I had 2 therapists in my group who have been through sexual trauma and young, and they have been through EMDR,
I was just going to say,
therapy, so much. And so it was so amazing to see these 2. And of course I got them. And here's me. I don't have a lot of experience with that. I'm not going to say I do, but so here's me. I'm going in and I'm super nervous and I'm doing this, running through the script that you're really not 100% feeling confident on yet. And I'm working on these 2 women that have been through something so traumatic and to see them crying at the end and saying nothing has worked, and they're still therapists, in the field. They've been through this in the past. And to say, I've never felt so much relief. Like I was crying too.
Right.
Like it was emotional, and we're still all friends on Facebook, which is really nice.
Awesome.
And we're following each other.
Trauma bonding.
Oh yeah. And it was crazy. And so I did that accident that I was in, that I spoke of earlier, in the convertible. And I can say, like, now I just look at it as an accident.
Right.
I don't know how to describe it. I don't feel anything. And I did some of the more, you can piece together. So if you don't have like one whole event, like say you have pieces of things, you can piece them together too.
Okay.
Like for example, like my dad, I did that one day, and this is crazy, but you tend to feel certain things in certain areas of your body in the beginning, or when you're running through your scene.
I believe it.
Mine with the accident, my feet felt heavy. My legs felt heavy.
Really?
Yeah.
That's insane.
So I had to process out. So then what we say is, okay, well, I want you to think of that feeling being flushed through your body, or you try and think of something that can move through, and then you do hand movements to process it out. And somehow you then feel lighter. It's wild.
That is crazy.
So I did that, and then I pieced scenes together with my father and things I had seen and gone through. And, they were very validating. They're like, I think you're feeling what you're feeling is because you felt trapped, or you felt, like you weren't in control because you were the child.
Right.
And, it was interesting to piece those things together. But I have done it on several people, and it is amazing to see the relief they feel. And it's, like I said, it's not as known as like EMDR.
I've never heard of it. And I've heard of MDR. MDR, right? Now that's with the lights and...
Yeah. So it's bringing in different forms of therapy altogether.
Okay.
So you start off and you ask the client like what you're feeling, and we're gauging that, and we're trying to practice to make sure, because you have to be really close to the client. You have to sit. And so my hand has to be in front of you, and you have to be able to follow it like this. And so then you process your scene, but then I walk you through trying to remake the story into what you want it to be.
Okay.
So
kind of rewriting
your own story. And then we're trying to reinforce the positive scene. And then with that, we take that, and anything left behind, anything that's still lingering, I'm creating visuals of, let's think of wallpaper, and we're putting wallpaper up over it. Or you're taking a color of paint and you're painting over it, or an eraser. And then I walk through a scene on the bridge, and who is meeting you at the end. And then I have you walk through trying to picture a fountain, and that water is almost like the fountain of youth, or it's helping, you. And I know this all sounds, so like way out there, but the way it's scripted works.
Right.
And so at the end, what I find is most people feel relief, and they're like, wow, this is crazy. Like, this is wild. Like
all from hand movements
in the script, and they're doing it all in their head.
There has to be something there. I believe it. Like, I'm a huge fan of like meditation, self-reflection, like connecting to your consciousness, all that stuff. Yeah. And I think, when you talked about your feet being heavy, right? There's something there, like that gut feeling you get. You get the chills, like the intuition. Yeah. There's so much more to the human body than we actually kind of give it credit for, or even think that it can do.
I agree. I like I said, I was skeptical too. I was like, to not even talk about it, out loud. But that's the whole goal. It's you're trying to work through that in your brain and trying to take that negativity out. You're just like, it happened. Right. You're not going to erase that. It happened, but you're left with just those facts. Yeah. And you kind of feel like, to it, like it's there.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah. I had one lady, that every time we did it, it erupted so much in her. She vomited. Like, she had so much emotion pent up and anxiety that during our art session, she had to run to the bathroom. Now, obviously, that's a isolated case, but and her spouse did tell me when she gets upset, sometimes that tends to happen or feel like an intense emotion. But I wasn't ready for that either.
Right? No.
Like, go ahead. But it erupted so much in her that she was reliving.
Right.
That it brought that out.
Because if you don't process.
Yeah. She's kept it in.
Yeah.
Kept it in.
Somebody said about like when you experience traumatic things and you always just suppress everything, eventually
it's going to come out.
It comes out, but like you shut off everything then.
Yeah.
Like the happiness, the sadness, the anger, like you're just a zombie.
Yeah. It's really amazing. And it was really important to me that I do that. And I didn't know about it either. Jada Hudson told me about it. She's like, I'm art trained. She's like, you need to go do this. This is amazing.
I feel like I have to try it.
It was worth it. It's amazing. It's so worth it. I'm so glad. And you know, I will say, like, I have it on my website under my bio, but I don't even get to advertise it.
Right.
And you know, I have there was a highly publicized over the summer accident, and I have some kids from it. There was a drowning at a camp.
Oh man.
And these kids were away at camp on a Christian, they were on like a group, you know, like a Christian group, you know, this summer camp thing. They were going for the weekend of Bond.
Okay.
And one of the kids drowned in the lake. And you know, the first responders running and pulling the friend out of the water. This is crazy. I had 2 people there. And this is like, you know, a well-known Christian, you know, based church. And there were, you know, there's a playing field one. There's there's different locations. I had 2 people from that. We had to do art, you know. So again, and she's still feeling it 4 months later. Yeah. So, you know, we're going to do that. You know, I had a sexual assault case over the summer, and I did it on her, and she's like, wow.
So the proof is in the pudding?
Yeah.
Proof is in the pudding. Do you do that a lot with all of your clients?
Not often. So this is what's crazy too, is therapists can just bill for art too. Like, it's just a 1-hour individual session, but I don't have to be your therapist.
Yeah.
So some people will come to therapists just for that, but say they have a really close relationship with their therapist that they've been seeing for years, but their therapist doesn't know how to do art.
Right.
You know? So I've had like 1 or 2 people come to me just for that and not therapy, because again, you're not talking. So I don't even need to know your
any
story.
Backstory, anything.
Yeah. And they can't, and there's periods through it that I will say, is there anything you want to share? Is there anything you're feeling from this? Do you know, is there anything you want to talk about quick? But we're trying to get through the whole script. The whole goal is to get through the whole script in an hour. So, so I've had a couple people just see me for art, and there's several art therapists all over the United States. Yeah. It's just a matter of like,
it's crazy because I've never even heard of it.
Yeah.
I've heard of everything else.
I didn't either.
Yeah. Amazing.
I didn't either. I don't recommend it on telehealth or FaceTime or video. It can, but to me, it's not as effective as sitting. You have to sit close to the client, and you're sitting face to face doing it. So, you know, to me, I don't think it's as effective.
So how tired does your hand get?
Very.
I was gonna say.
Because for each one, it's like 30 times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Burning.
So my right.
Burning.
And my left is stronger, so it's good because my right.
I need extra work.
Yeah, my right needs some work.
Same, sister. Same.
So yeah.
I might actually learn it myself just to strengthen my shoulder.
Yeah, I'll teach you.
Yeah. So before we take off, is there anything else that you would like? I usually kind of ask people at the end of the episode of anything you would like to share with the listeners.
Yeah, I just think that, I know anyone can say, go get help if you need it, go see someone, but there are so many ways to seek therapy now.
Yeah.
There's telehealth, now, obviously thanks to COVID, we had to figure it out. There's FaceTime, there's video, there's phone calls, there's in office. So I'd say, if you're looking to seek help, it's nice now that there's convenience. There's no excuse now. I have people who see me on their lunch break, who give me a call on their lunch break. I have people who live down the street and walk to see me. I have first responders, and my first responders know that they can change it up on me any second because it's not a big deal to me. Just send me a text.
Right.
But now it's just as easy to do that. Hey, Melissa, I had a long night. I had a lot of calls. I just don't feel like driving in. Cool. You want to do a phone call or video? Yep. Or, just walking around, being able to multitask, being on the phone. If that's not a big deal to you to come in the office, that's fine. But at least there's multiple ways to seek help. And I think it also, as I've said, it's important that I go in there and my face be known, and I want people to trust me. It's so important to build these relationships. And, again, people are going to look at a list of therapists and not know
right
where to turn.
When you go to the doctor, they're like, oh, here's
Here
your
you
list.
go. And you're like,
pick one.
I don't know where to start.
Right.
And I think for some, it might take a couple therapists to really find that fit.
Right.
So I think that's okay, though. You have to find your person that you feel comfortable with. And luckily, the people I've seen them for years. I have people that I've walked through so many things with, and, I've cried with them. I've, smiled. I've seen pictures. I've seen weddings. I've seen divorces. I've seen deaths. It's like amazing to walk through life with, the people that I have. So, especially at my office, we believe in, helping people to help themselves.
Yeah.
One of my quotes is building a happier, healthier you. And I tell a lot of my first responders, you can't walk through water and not get wet.
Yep.
You can't expect to walk through water and not get wet. So, that's my main thing, is to say, hey, it's okay. There's going to be what person goes through life without any type of trauma or grief or loss? Like, we all could use a therapist, but like you said, not everybody is going to be that vulnerable, but at least now it's becoming more embraced, and at least through departments, it's becoming, more important, and chiefs are seeing it now. And, look at Lombard, they're using that foreign fire tax, So again, things are changing, and I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of, changing that around and smashing the stigma and, helping, our community. So yeah.
Well, you're doing it.
Awesome.
You're doing it from the 2 hours that we've
not more
talking. You've done that. Yeah. You've touched a lot of lives. And
Thank you.
God knows how many lives you've saved.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we talk about the spiderweb effect. So it's like countless and countless
families.
And countless. You're in the right position. You're right where you need to be.
Thank you.
And we appreciate for what you do. Everything you do.
Thank you so much.
Carrie, you have anything?
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Phenomenal time learning about you.
Yeah, same. It's been an honor. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah. I hope we can do this again.
Yeah.
Next time we'll talk about the conspiracies.
Here we go. I'm
need another 4 hours.
Schooled.
We'll scramble your brain.
I don't know if I can just have water for that.
You're right. So you're down a deep rabbit hole. Yeah. So if anyone who's listening today wants to come check you out, where would they find you? So
sugargrovewellness.com. We are on Instagram. Sugar Grove Wellness is on Instagram, Facebook, info at Sugar Grove Wellness, for email. I've had people DM me to start therapy. Honestly, anything is fine. Just reach out in any way. My business line has text, So people can text me, call me, but yeah, our website is sugargrovewellness.com, so they can reach out that way. I have a therapy dog, not certified therapy dog. He's trying.
We're
Max.
working through a few things.
He has his own Instagram. Off of mine, it says Max Does Wellness.
Love it.
So Max is thriving. And if I don't bring him, I'm certainly told, it's like everyone's excited to see him over me. Where's Max?
Right.
Why didn't you bring him today?
We're canceling this.
Yeah, exactly. I'm done walking out. So, if he's on, telehealth, and my clients enjoy seeing him. So yeah, you can find me anywhere. I'm just not on TikTok yet, but
working up to it.
Yeah, I need someone to help me with that.
Just gotta learn some dances.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you coming in. It definitely was an honor. The honor's
Same.
all ours, and we'll have to have you back on.
Thank you. I'd love to.
Well, you guys, we appreciate you tuning in to another episode of Beyond the Dispatch. Do us a favor, hit that subscribe button. Check out Melissa on her Instagram. Go to her website. If you feel like she'd be a great fit for you, I feel like she would. I promise you guys, she's solid. But until then, we'll see you guys in the next one.